Дорое и прекрасно, с тутами за 200. Давай на честную, поверь, так будет интереснее. Попадаю в розу, начинаю свой старт. Не хотел ее обидеть, но крутил, стал устав.
What's up? Good morning. What's up?
Словами жму на педали, компас на восток и путь мой оптимален, что же по детали, как агент по заданию, и я знаю, что в душе не постарею с годами. Читал по плану, по главам, мой навык Big Diamond, это лайва, как лайнер, и все идет по программе, лечу я между рядами, вокруг накрыла темнота, и врубаю я дальше на пакости, урагана, дерзкий, как Тони Монтана, не нажимая тормоза, вещей погони за налог, музыкой двигаю в такт, пусть перекрёст не хватало, моторе в этом пределе, но я и дальше догнал. Знаю в глазах блеск, заряжаю свою честь, едет черным мерседесом, как будто бы экспресс, напряжение Дикий Вест, если в чем-то не уверен, то не стоит туда лезть. Знаю в глазах блеск, заряжаю свою честь, едет черным мерседесом, как будто бы экспресс, напряжение Дикий Вест, если в чем-то не уверен, то не стоит туда лезть. Если смотришься в глаза мне, то поймешь, что я не умею маневрировать столько, я сижу без богов, сила воли, святой дух над собой, несмотря на то, я самурай до конца против шакалов будет биться, чтобы слиться зубы, стереть все поцелуются. Я самурай, мне в помощь стихия огня. Я самурай, часть принципа неровня. Я самурай, успех это мое упрямство. Я самурай, а не какой-то ангамство. Я самурай, мне в помощь стихия огня. Я самурай, часть принципа неровня. Я самурай, успех это мое упрямство. Я самурай, а не какой-то ангамство. Я ранен, брат, но я самурай. Я чистый в делах, попаду я в рай. Сколько бы не был сильный ветер из края, стоять я буду на ногах, судьбой и края слышь.
Helga, you here? Helga.
Ничто не вечно, наслаждайся моментом. Я с тобою, хоть мы и в разных планетах. Мое решение тверже гранита. Есть гордость и честь, не все в монетах. Я стремлюсь к бесконечности, это дает мне надежду от вечности. Я рожден побеждать, я в правильном пути. Я самурай, со мной ты не шути. Я самурай.
Hey Helga, what's up, man? I don't know why it's not showing on the main screen. What the hell is going on? Why is not showing on the main screen? Thank you very much. I just seen it on my app. You're welcome. Damn, I don't see you on my camera. On my iPad, there's nothing. There's no text, no chat, no nothing. I can only see it here. I can only see it here. Wow. Why is it not coming out? Oh, now it's coming out. See, now it's coming out. Now it's come out. Now it's come out. I see it. You're welcome. You're welcome. Are you somewhere in the city? In the village? I got you. What's up? You're welcome. You're welcome. I had a lot of coins. I don't know what to do with them. Good travka. Good weed. Time to roll another joint. What are you up to? Just going through the village? Just taking a walk? Or you going somewhere? Oh, the fuck is that? The fuck? Check it out. Well, yeah, kind of new. It's kind of old already. Maybe a few weeks, maybe months. When I do a lot. I do like 30, 20 of the same shape, but different colors. I like coloring. I like the colors. Like I can show you right now, same thing but in a different color. Hold on a second. For example, this. See? See how the color changed? Yeah. Check it out. I'm gonna write it down for you. That's where you can see my art.
Небо в клетку вокруг, все током сеткой. Маячок перелетел игру через запретку. Дом родной для воров, для арестантов. Дом тюрьма для бродяг, декадант. Карты, скрип ключа, прогулка. Открыты двери на прогулке. On, then I told him make it clap, ooh, baby, keep the lights on. Clap, 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 ooh, baby, keep the lights on. I ain't nothing like the land of the free, but she made me think twice when I place it cheap. Cause I love a nice song when you get the face on. Then I told him make it clap, ooh, baby, keep the lights on. Clap, 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 ooh, baby, keep the lights on. See the swag, pull it back, send it up to the cat. Tell me put it in the lights on the ad, put it in the stage, party, the lights on. Clap, ooh, baby, keep the lights on.
Let me put our own music. Well, I don't know why I suddenly don't want music. Suddenly don't want music. Let it be RT.
Over the upcoming cabinet lineup. Meanwhile, the Lebanese currency, the lira, has lost up to 90% of its October 2019 value. This has left around two-thirds of Lebanese families struggling to put food on the table.
We've stopped putting price tags on products because we pay for these products in US dollars. And the price of the dollar is changing every day. We're pricing on a daily basis, and on some occasions, several times a day.
Ну что ты заходишь говорить?
Despite everything, for most here in Lebanon, the worst aspect of the economic crisis is the
Хорошо, я заплачу.
Давай.
А зачем тебе?
Мне надо. And have prompted drugstores to shutter on many occasions.
Supply for medicine. We are in short of basically all medications, all categories. It's really a chaos. It's a disaster. It's a tragedy. A lot of people are not finding their medication.
These queues you see everywhere. They are not caused by a medical crisis or petrol or bread crisis. All of this is the result of the sectarian-based power-sharing system and the fact that corrupt politicians are in bed with tradesmen, both of whom are protected by so-called religious figures. Things will continue to worsen as long as this corrupt system exists.
This is Martyr Square. The area, which saw millions demonstrate last summer against government corruption, which culminated in a financial meltdown that has put Lebanon on the brink. For now, the square is still empty. But with the economic news around the necks of Lebanon's people getting ever tighter, many question if it will remain that way for much longer. Reporting for RT, Altaf Ahmed, Beirut.
Paying for the apartment. Hey, bye-bye.
Olympic host city
Bye, Helga.
Tokyo has banned spectators from attending this summer's games. This comes after Japan's capital has declared a state of emergency over a spiralling COVID caseload. On Wednesday, it posted almost 1,000 new infections. The Olympic opening ceremony is scheduled for very soon, July 23rd. There's been widespread opposition to the games in Japan, with calls for them to be postponed or cancelled. Now look out for the Russian and Chinese vaccines. That's the warning coming from France's Europe Minister, who's concerned EU member states might consider green-lighting jabs that don't have the approval of the bloc. His words come as the Delta variant of COVID is spreading rapidly across the world, forcing governments to implement strict measures and ramp up vaccination programs.
It's important the vaccines which allow entry to our territory are limited to the 4 we're sure about. And certain countries which are looking to recognise vaccines like the Russian and Chinese ones, we're saying no.
The European Medicines Agency has so far approved 4 vaccines: Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson. Russia's Sputnik shots among those currently under review. The process has gone on for 4 months already, but the EU ambassador to Russia have claimed recently the delay is nothing political. Moscow, though, remains positive.
Это точно, чтоб тебе на 8 часов утра.
It's clear that there may be different positions. It's clear that so far the European agency has not recognised our Sputnik jab. But we are sure that if all the prejudices are left aside, either those of a political, artificial or lobbying nature, then eventually we will succeed and the Russian vaccine will be recognised.
Well, the pandemic marks a grim milestone, with 4 million people now having died from COVID-19. And as the Delta strain becomes the dominant strain of the virus, the World Health Organization sent a stark warning to countries hoarding vaccines.
Vaccine nationalism, where a handful of nations have taken the lion's share, is morally indefensible and an ineffective public health strategy against a respiratory virus that's mutating quickly and becoming increasingly effective at moving from human to human. Variants are currently winning the race against vaccines because of inequitable vaccine production and distribution.
According to the World Health Organization, the Delta strain will dominate all other variants globally in the coming months. It was first detected in India in October last year and has since spread to more than 100 countries. Dozens of countries are implementing new restrictions and travel bans to try to stop the spread. We spoke with Dr. Joydeep Grover, who's an A&E consultant, about the dangers of COVID mutations.
I think the Delta variant is by far the most commonest variant now. And to contain it worldwide is next to impossible. There will be new mutations. We don't know where they will come from. They could come from any part of the world. So far, all the mutations are still sensitive to the vaccines, at least to a great extent. But, you never know. You might get a mutation which escapes the current vaccine. So unless everyone is vaccinated and we are able to control the spread of the virus worldwide, no one is actually safe. I suspect COVID is going to take many years for us to get used to it, find the best vaccinations, prevention strategies. This pandemic will keep spreading till we are able to spread the vaccines to all humanity.
A former police officer looks likely to become New York City's next mayor after he won the Democratic nomination. He was picked despite a year of BLM protests calling to defund the police. At the same time, crime is soaring, with New York State Governor Cuomo declaring a gun violence disaster emergency. The new Democratic New York mayoral candidate is Eric Adams. He's a 22-year police veteran, currently serving as Brooklyn Borough President. His firm stance on combating the rising number of shootings in the city was at the forefront of his bid for the nomination. Adams, while supporting police reforms, also voiced opposition towards defunding police.
If Black lives really matter, it can't only be against police abuse. It has to be against the violence that's ripping apart our communities.
People want to feel safe. Right now, they don't feel safe. Crime is happening all around them. Shootings are up. Robberies are up. Homelessness is up. They see it in the subways. They don't feel safe in the subways. They see it out in the streets, in their homes, in their neighborhoods, and they want to feel safe. So this gentleman ran on a platform of public safety and making people feel safe, and it resonated with them. And that's it. You know, the defund the police movement has been a large failure. Demonizing and attacking cops has been a failure, and people are ready for a change. Hopefully, this is the catalyst to some sort of change.
And it's not just New York that's suffering. The country's concerns about crime have reached a 4-year high, according to a poll released earlier this month. That as homicides in the US continue to climb. Chicago's mayor has asked the president for help after the city saw its bloodiest weekend on July 4th, with more than 1,000 people shot. Policeman Zeke Arkham says that people's worries about crime need to be addressed with actions.
The violence is right in people's faces. You can put all the crime statistics out there, say that crime is going down. You can have all the feel-good moments, but people know what they see. They know what they hear, and you can't deny that. So people definitely want to change. They want some sort of action to be taken. They want to feel safe. That's what it's all about, public safety. You know, you're not going to convince someone that just finished watching someone get robbed or knows about the shootings that are going on in their neighborhood that they're safe. They want something done.
Joe Biden has signed a bill that would hand additional financial support to Washington's whistleblower program. The move's aimed to improve protection for those who report different types of violations. But as practice has shown, and Artist Dimitri Parrott takes us through, many of those people are in fact punished instead of being supported.
Whistleblowers like Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, and others have long been a thorn in the side of Washington. And it seems that no matter what Washington does, it just can't seem to, once and for all, discourage all these pesky leakers from spilling the beans on the government's darkest secrets. When media outlet ProPublica dropped its bombshell leak revealing how billionaires such as Bezos, Musk, Bloomberg, Soros have gone years without paying any federal income tax, what do you think the reaction was? Well, from the public, it was an obvious what the hell, but from the government, an investigation. And that's the way this story goes, every single time, from Obama to Trump and now Biden. Public officials don't want to address any of the leaked issues, as per public demand, but would rather find those responsible who dared to unveil the government's dark secrets.
The United States do something to stop Mr. Assange.
We're looking at that right now. He should be treated as an enemy combatant. WikiLeaks should be closed down permanently and decisively.
This guy's a traitor, a treasonous, and he has broken every law of the United States. The guy ought to be, and I'm not for the death penalty, so if I'm not for the death penalty, I don't want to do it. Illegally shoot the son of a...
Guys, these things are meant to be a secret for a reason. It's so that the government doesn't have to deal with it and can continue doing whatever it wants without people pestering it with nonsense like, oh, this is unfair, or this is unethical, and blah, blah, blah. Of course, though, over the years, the government has tried to maintain a facade of being on their side and being supportive of the bravery of truth seekers.
It is incumbent on all of us to counter these threats to a free and independent media, including physical risk and arbitrary detention. We celebrate the courage of truth-tellers who refuse to be intimidated, often at great personal risk.
But that's just it. It's all a facade. Things like the 2012 Whistleblower Protection Act have essentially proven to be useless. Whistleblowers continue to face the threat of internal retaliation and possible prosecution for leaking any or reporting any wrongdoings. Take Natalie Edwards, for example. She was an official at the U.S. Treasury Department. She noticed some suspicious activity reports pointed out that Wall Street giants like J.P. Morgan Chase and HSBC, among others, might have been complicit in money laundering. So she took it to the official whistleblower channels. And guess what happened next? Absolutely nothing. But some people do hope that Biden might be able to break this trend.
Biden will work with Congress to strengthen our whistleblower laws. so that any federal employee who learns of an improper attempt to influence a Department of Justice investigation or prosecution knows how to report it and receives full protection against retaliation by anyone, including the president.
But so far, these have only been words. But at the end of the day, it's not even really just up to Biden to fix this. The people leading these investigations and prosecuting these pesky truth tellers are all over the executive branch. And Biden's administration is literally packed with people who were there at the forefront of the crackdown on whistleblowers during the Obama days. And after all, why should any of these officials allow whistleblowers to go public? It's their jobs on the line. And what we can tell from all these leaks, these people are not exactly righteous do-gooders.
Okay, that wraps it up for this news hour. I'll be back with more in 30 minutes.
Join me every Thursday on the Alex Salmon Show, and I'll be speaking to guests on the world of politics, sport, business, and show business. I'll see you then.
Today, industry prefers to spend millions of euros in lobbying to delay regulations.
Agribusiness is all about making money, making profits. It's about big corporations, international markets, import-export.
Do you imagine the number of chronic diseases that are in every family today? It is not due to new viruses or new microbes. That's not true. So it is due to environment.
La sociedad no ha conseguido de momento que se pueda comer de forma saludable y asequible económicamente sin utilizar miles de toneladas de plaguicidas cada año.
If the food industry is successful, it will create more jobs, it will create more value added, it will create more growth. So I don't see why we shouldn't also fight for the interests of the industry.
I accept that we have regulation. We want regulation as an industry. And if we don't behave, then yes, penalty, that's fine.
The world is driven by dreamers, shaped by thinkers, and those with vision. Who dares, thinks. We dare to ask.
Hi, I'm Max Kaiser. This is the Kaiser Report Special Summer Solutions, where we look at the solutions. I'm here with Stacey Herbert, and we've got a special guest, Stacey.
Right, Alistair McLeod of goldmoney.com. He writes amazing pieces over there, lots of blog posts, research, and all sorts of stuff. I recommend you check it out. Your latest pieces, Alistair, are called Too Much Liquidity and Inflation, Asset, and Consumer Prices. So this is definitely the biggest theme of 2021, and that is inflation. Even the U.S. Federal Reserve is admitting now that there is quite a bit of inflation. The numbers are over 5%, the official numbers that they report to the U.S. And however, first of all, is this inflation transitory, as they say, or do you think this is going to be a bit more permanent, as the head of the Central Bank of Russia has recently just said?
I'm afraid it's a bit more
permanent than transitory. The problem basically is that you can see going back to March last year how commodity prices just took off. And they took off at exactly the moment that the Fed decided to do QE of 120 billion a month. And not only that, but as we come out of lockdown, we find two things. Firstly, there's a complete logistical foul-up. Nothing is getting delivered. We went into it with just-in-time inventory management, which means there was nothing on the shelves. And on top of that, we find to our displeasure that people having stopped working don't want to go back to work. So you can see that there is not the product available to match all that money that's been handed to the consumers. And the consequence is quite simple. Prices rise. And not only do they rise, but they will continue rising until that situation is sorted out at the minimum. But of course, the monetary inflation continues. So will it ever get sorted out? I'm afraid that it's actually a very serious situation, and it will only be a matter, I think, of a month or two, or perhaps even a few weeks before the currency markets begin to reflect the fact that interest rates have got to rise in order to protect currencies against the debasement that we've seen so far. So I think as far as the Fed is concerned, I think they were trying very hard not to precipitate a situation which is already there. But I'm afraid it is there. It is not transient, it is permanent, and it's going to prove to be extremely expensive for the consumer.
So you talk about 120 billion money printing per month or QE per month. So my question is this, we came through an era of programs, various programs, whether it's QE1, QE2, the TARP bailout after the 2008 crisis. But it seems like we fundamentally entered into a new era where they're not even trying to create these programs. They're just saying it's an automatic line item every month, 120 billion printed. And so we've entered into a new era where there is actually, this is an outstanding feature of policy now. It's no longer a program. It's no longer responding to anything, but it's a reinterpretation of the economy from the most fundamental level. Alistair.
But it started off in the wake of the Lehman crisis as extraordinary measures. And unfortunately, instead of the extraordinary measures going away, they have continued. And not only have they continued, but they've become yet more extraordinary. I mean, it is no solution. The problem is, there was a phrase a little while ago about kicking the can down the road. I mean, it looks to me as if we're running out of road to kick that can down. Really, I'm afraid that the central banks have gotten themselves into one enormous mess on this, and it's very, very difficult to see how they can get out of it. And I know that I've mentioned before that really their objective has been to try and keep the show on the road, kick that can down the road, as it were, by puffing up asset values, by ensuring that the yields on US Treasury bonds don't rise, that they are suppressed, that we all get a wealth effect from rising stock prices, to which they can now add cryptocurrencies. I mean, there's this sort of, we've got to keep fueling the bubble, keep pumping the bubble, and that's really what they've been doing. But of course, there comes a point where you can no longer do that, and this is the importance of the inflation message that we're getting, because it will mean that interest rates have got to rise. What happens to that asset bubble? The asset bubble collapses. It's as simple as that.
Ты не можешь, потому что это вранье, а тут вдруг забота. Молодец, хорошо устроилась.
Мне 5 минут мало. Что, нельзя подождать?
Если мы договорились выйти в час, то мы должны выйти в час. Почему я должен сидеть одетый и ждать тебя еще 5 минут?
А что ты тему приводишь?
Да потому что я не алкоголик и не хочу записываться ни на какие курсы.
Да, почему ты постоянно со своего покера пьяный приползаешь?
Ты попала с этим покером, а я из дня рождения из клуба прихожу пьяный.
И ты не алкоголик, да?
Блин, Кристина, я все равно буду играть. Это моя девушка Кристина на сегодня побудет вместе с нами. Просто посидим, посмотрим.
За каждым километром вашего пути стоит напряженная работа двигателя. Моторного масла Моторное масло Рольф работает. Вы просто наслаждаетесь дорогой. Рольф работает.
Old Frost. Работает как холодильник или как морозильник. 7 огромных ящиков. Цена 39 990. Нет. 35 990 и завтра в продажу.
Лера делает комфорт доступным.
Это наше главное открытие. Новый золотой стандарт. Румяная вафля, глазурь и нежный пломбир со сливками. Попробуйте. Золотой стандарт счастья.
Сочная, настоящая курица. В Сандерс-баскете всего за 149 рублей. Почувствуйте пшеничный вкус с изящной ноткой цитруса. Кроненбург Блан безалкогольная. Вкус с акцентом.
Это хипстер за Galaxy стоят. Нет, празднуют, как выгодно его купили в МТС.
Samsung Galaxy с выгодой до 50% при покупке аксессуаров и связи в МТС и на shop.mts.ru.
Пальцем в экран не тыкай.
Везде экран.
Нигде не тыкай.
О том, что нужно купить, всегда вспоминаешь не вовремя.
Покупайте повседневные товары на Яндекс.Маркете, чтобы больше о них не думать. Дарим 500 баллов за первый заказ в приложении. Насладись ярким вкусом Пепси Манго.
Пусть для удивительного будет время. Потряси. И хрустящие шарики, покрытые шоколадом. Удивляй себя каждый день. Даниссимо. Время на то, что любишь.
Холодильник СС Дорое. Кэшбэк. Теперь до 30%. Разрушительный удар по ценам.
Как создать идеальное моторное масло? Для этого нужна рука мастера и высокие технологии. Для масла Синтек мы создаем особый купаж только из лучших присадок, чтобы двигатель сказал вам мерси, thank you, грации или спасибо. Инновации со всего мира в моторном масле Синтек.
А статую куда? А для этой статуи мы найдем крепость побольше. В приложении Том Клик.